What's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? It's your boy Rio Robinson back with the latest and greatest on the Rambling with Rio YouTube channel, where we ramble about the Washington Commanders. Today is Monday, July 10th, and we are now 10 days away from our new owner being voted in by the rest of the ownership of the NFL. And we're 17 days, 2 weeks and 3 days away from the start of 2023 Washington Commanders training camp, and I cannot wait. It's hot as the devil's dick outside. I'm ready to go out and sweat and have a heat stroke at training camp and get back around the rest of the fan base, man. I'm ready for football. I was sick as hell last week. That's why I didn't drop any content. Had a stomach bug that absolutely took me out last week. If I would have been trying to force content out, it would have sounded very disgusting, and I don't do that. So, but your boy's back this week to drop some more content. This week, we're starting with another expectations for the 2023 season for a specific player, a second-year player at that. Are we going sophomore slump or sophomore leap? Because that year two is very pivotal in the trajectory of a player's career. They either take off and continue the momentum they gained their rookie year, or they hit a brick wall. And once the league has had a year of tape on them, they start to falter a little bit, and they gotta start from ground zero on how to attack to not be figured out by the league, because NFL defensive coordinators don't play. Once they get that year of tape on you, it can become curtains real fast if you're a one-trick pony. So, and the guy in question today is Brian Robinson Jr., the guy with my favorite last name on the team for obvious reasons, BROB. Year two running back out of Alabama, Crimson Tide, two-time national champion while he was there. A guy I told you when we picked him, because a lot of people were saying when we drafted him, we don't need a running back. They were saying all offseason, we don't need a running back. And I kept saying, we need a starting running back. I was saying it all last offseason. We need a starting running back, because while I think the role of this specific player will expand and he could be used better, I'm not high on Antonio Gibson. I'm not high at all on Antonio Gibson. I hear everybody, they expect such high things from Antonio Gibson. I don't. I expect him to do better under Eric Bieniemy, because Eric Bieniemy is like a running back whisperer. But I told you all last season we needed a starting running back, and when we drafted him, I said before the end of 2022, he'd end up the starter. He won the starting job in camp. He won it in camp. And if it wasn't for some fucking disaster of a tragedy that happened off season, he would have been getting the first carries of the 2022 season for the Washington Commanders and would have had well over 1,000 yards last year. Well, maybe not well over, but he would have at least had 1,000 yards. He had about 812 games played. But this is a guy who came in, work ethic, fits the billing as the prototypical workhorse bell cow running back. 6'1", 225, 230, all muscle, north to south runner, no wasted movements when he gets the ball in his hand. And that is the biggest difference between him and Antonio Gibson to me. And I know everybody's going to hit me with but Antonio Gibson was a receiver in college. We drafted him to play running back, and he's an NFL player who's had 3 years of coaching at the position. And Antonio Gibson's biggest issues, it's not fumbles. Vision is up there, but Antonio Gibson's biggest issue is a lot of wasted movement. He gets the ball and hesitates and dances too much and leaves too many yards on the field. And that is why our offense, running game wise, needs to run through Brian Robinson Jr., B-Rob, 100% of the time. Honestly, I don't even need to see Antonio Gibson get the ball in between the tackles ever again. Give him the ball in scat back situations, throw him the ball, get him lined up outside the numbers, give him tosses and sweeps. Don't need to see him run inside the number, because I've seen what he can do there, and it's not very effective at all. But B-Rob, he gets to it. He gets the ball, and he delivers the pain. He runs with that old school Earl Campbell style where he's looking for contact, but he has more burst and wiggle to him than you would think at his size and the type of running back that he is. I don't need him to light the world on fire. I don't need him to go Josh Jacobs and lead the league in running this year. I need you to simply give me 4 yards a carry on about 280 carries, which is over 1,100 yards for the season. 1,140 rush yards. That's it. That's all I need. That does sound daunting, but the guy gave me 800 last year behind a shit line in 11 and a half 12 games, and his legs didn't get back under him till about maybe 11 weeks into the season. He didn't really get going till the latter half of the season because, I mean, the guy's coming off of a lower extremity. He got shot in his lower extremities a couple times. It took him a while to get his football legs under him, but once them legs started churning, that boy was effective. He was effective, and unlike Scott Turner, I believe EB is going to know how to continue to feed the hot hand. Scott Turner give B-Rob a couple carries. He'll be like the Giants game on Sunday night. It was fucking embarrassing. The guy's averaging like 8 yards a carry, and then he just stops giving him the ball. Because Scott, for some reason, he had this thing where if something was working, he was fine with it. He'd put it in his pocket, take his ball, and go home. Oh, this is working tonight, guys. Let's not do it again. We probably won't see it again for another couple weeks. We'll come back to it. EB is going to know how to ride the hot hand. If Brian Robinson's giving you 6, 7, 8 yards a carry that night, he going to feed him. He going to ride him till the tires pop, till the tread comes off that motherfucker. We're going to be riding hubcap on the way to the end zone behind the offensive line that we have here. Because Brian Robinson is that classic type of running back who has the body to take the punishment, to take the bruising and battering that comes with the position. Running back, a position that's been diminished and devalued over the years, and it just keeps getting more diminished and devalued. And Antonio Gibson is in a contract year this year. Antonio Gibson is not going to be re-signed because re-signing running backs is not advantageous to building a roster unless you get them for the low. The only running backs that deserve contracts are the best running backs in the league, and even those guys don't necessarily get paid. Unless your name is like Christian McCaffrey or Derrick Henry, you're probably not going to get paid when it's time to get paid. Look at Saquon up in New York. He's on the franchise tag. They're trying to work out a deal with him. Look how hard they got to work to get a deal done with an elite running back. Running backs don't get paid. My philosophy, draft a new one and run the tires, run the tread off of him. Run the tread off the tires during his rookie contract and draft another one. And the next year, draft another one. Keep drafting running backs. Make it a revolving cycle of drafting running backs because I do not believe in paying running backs unless you accidentally end up with a Derrick Henry or a Christian McCaffrey. Those are the outliers at the position. Don't believe in paying them. B-Rob is in his second year. I expect 1,100 rushing yards and 6 rushing touchdowns. They're probably like 6 rushing touchdowns. That's it. There's a lot of mouths to feed here. There's a lot of mouths to feed. And the way that the NFL goes, they don't necessarily always feed the bell cow and red zone situation. It could be a situation where he's running the ball, getting us up the field, and then Gibson gets the sloppy touchdown. It's kind of like when you're playing Call of Duty or Halo or something, and your teammate gets all the damage on somebody, and you come in with the last shot and then finish them. It happens that way a lot in the NFL. Fantasy people hate it, but 6 touchdowns works for me, 1,100 rushing yards, and give me 280 to 300 receiving yards in the process. I remember the Falcons game when he ran dude over. That was off a reception. Brian Robinson has natural hands. He can catch as well. So I don't see EB pigeonholing him into just getting the ball out of the backfield like a power back. They're going to throw the ball to him too. And we're going to utilize the screen game this year, something that we did not see utilized in Scott Turner's Air Coryell system. A lot of things are going to be different running this West Coast offense this year, but I think Brian Robinson Jr. is going to be a focal point in the offense for the Washington Commanders this year. Give me some stat predictions below. 280 receiving yards, no receiving touchdown, 280 carries, 1,140 yards, 6 touchdowns for Brian Robinson in year 2. I'll make a Gibson video as well. But I think B-Rob's the guy. I think he's going to be Eric Bieniemy's guy. He seems like he loves the style of coaching that EB brings, and he seems like an EB guy. And he seems like he's ready. He's all ears to just go out and get it. He was robbed of playing a full season and having a chance to be in the conversation for Rookie of the Year last year because some bozos decided to try to rob him on a Sunday afternoon and take his car and shot him a couple times. I'm glad the boy is okay. I'm glad he's fine, and I'm glad he's able to continue to do what he worked his whole life to do, which is be a professional NFL running back. And I believe the Washington Commanders are going to reap the benefits of what Brian Robinson Jr. is capable of with an 1,100-yard second season in the NFL. 1,100 yards and 6 touchdowns, baby. I'm manifesting it. I'm calling my shot. I'm locking it in. Give me your stat predictions for BROB for the 2023 season in the comments below. We're a couple weeks away from training camp, and we're 10 days away from our new owner being voted in. And hopefully they get some type of event schedule. Or if not an event to like come out and meet and talk to and see the new owners, at least give me a presser before camp. I need the Washington is calling a press conference on Wednesday afternoon to welcome in Magic Johnson, Mitchell Rels, and Josh Harris. I need it, bro. I need to see it. I need to hear that energy and let the stadium conversation commence. RFK, we got congressmen, councilmen lobbying to get RFK back in play. It's feeling like Washington is going to be the favorite when the stadium conversation gets going. So much to talk about. So little time. So much time, actually. We got all the time in the world until this camp shit starts. I can't wait to see y'all back out there in Ashburn in a couple weeks. Until next time, hail to the Washington Commanders. Deuces.